Hey, what's going on, my friend? It's Jeff Newport from ChasingStrength.com. And in today's video, we are going to answer the question, what's better for muscle growth, the kettlebell clean and press, or is it something else? All right, let's dive in. Well, a lot of guys over 40 who get into kettlebells really don't care about building muscle, but they should, all right? Especially if they want to lose weight or get back in shape, or dare I even say it, though it pains me, tone up. Why? Because muscle is your body's metabolic machinery, okay? It burns calories both at rest and at work. And so it stands to reason that the more muscle you have on your body, not any old body, but your body. This is what matters, right? Your body. The more muscle you have on your body, the more calories you're going to burn at rest, and the more calories you're going to burn at work, right? Whether you swing, press, or snatch a kettlebell or do anything else. And those things are critically important for quote unquote losing weight, right? And they're also important for getting stronger. So the more muscle you have on your body, the greater the strength potential you have and the more work you can effectively do, okay? So with that foundation set, I got this comment over on one of my IG posts the other day, the answer to which I thought you'd find helpful. And we'll flash this up here on the screen for you, okay? Rolito wants to know, in terms of muscle growth, what's the advantage of cleans and presses over the strict press? Okay, so that's a great question. When discussing muscle growth, we need to think in terms of systemic or localized. Okay, systemic is the impact of a particular load or stimulus on the body as a whole, okay, as a unit, right? Localized is the impact a load or a stimulus has on a region, like the shoulders, your shoulder girdle, your arms, your guns, you know what I'm saying, the legs, all right? So the kettlebell clean and press is categorized as a compound lift, which is made up of two or more compound exercises. And a compound exercise is an exercise that uses multiple joints in order to be performed, okay? So you contrast a compound exercise with an isolation exercise. So like a biceps curl, which only uses, in theory, one joint, the elbow joint, okay? This is critically important to know because the energy demand and stimulus for change in your nervous system or on your nervous system is greater using a compound exercise when compared to an isolation exercise. However, the demand on the muscle tissue is usually the inverse. Okay, so there's more demand on muscle tissue in isolation exercises compared to compound exercises. In fact, you could say it's on a continuum and it looks like this, right? So in order of lesser to greater, on muscle tissue would be compound lift. We'll flash this up here on the screen so you can follow along. Compound lift, compound exercise, isolation exercise. All right. Now it's the inverse on the demand on your central nervous system. So greater CNS or central nervous system demand and stimulus, versus lesser CNS demand / stimulus. Okay. So said another way, less muscle tissue demand versus greater muscle tissue demand. And we'll flash that up here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, it's kind of hard to see without a visual. Okay, but essentially this explains why bodybuilders are usually bigger than powerlifters, but powerlifters are stronger. Okay, bodybuilders focus on making their muscles as big as possible, and powerlifters focus on making their muscles with relation to the three main lifts they compete in, the squat, bench, and deadlift, as strong as possible. Now, with that as our context, right, our groundwork, let's get back to the question at hand. So what are the advantages, if any, of doing the clean and press over just the press or vice versa, okay? So the advantages of the clean and press over the strict press are as follows, and there are 5 of them. Number 1, there's greater systemic demand because you're using a compound lift versus a compound exercise, and therefore there's greatest nervous system stimulus for change. Number 2, there's less localized upper body fatigue. So usually, but not always, you can get more presses in a set of clean and presses versus a set of presses. Number 3, the cleans use ground reaction force or force wave, okay, which is force generated from your body into the ground and it bounces out of the ground essentially up through the body again from the clean to increase your pressing power or power output in the press. This often decreases upper body fatigue and increases the number of presses you can do. All right. So number 4, you get an improved conditioning effect from alternating between cleans and presses. And number 5, the cleans train the posterior chain, hips, hamstrings, erector spinae, calves. Okay, to name again, but 5. So that may beg the question, do you never do just presses. And no, not at all. Okay. So again, here, let's take a look at the advantages, of doing just presses instead of the clean and press. Okay. There are three distinct advantages. Number one, you're focused on increasing your military press max. So if that's the case, then you want to do repeat presses. Number two, if you just want to focus on localized muscle building, all right, in the shoulders and upper back and arms, then you would just do presses. And number three, if you're learning how to press, then you need to focus on your technique. And so sets of unbroken or back-to-back reps on the presses are the way to do that. For me personally, at this stage in my life, I'm all about time efficiency. I don't need to perfect neither my clean or my press. I've been doing them for the kettlebell clean and presses for, my goodness, since 2002. So, you do the math. All right, over 20 years. So I prefer the clean and press versus the press because it's just a matter of time efficiency. I can do more in the same amount of time, okay, or less time than if I just split them up, okay? So if you have to, if you hate having to pick, all right, here's another option that some consider the best of all worlds, and that is clean, then press. Okay, so in other words, you do all your cleans first, and then without putting your kettlebell or kettlebells down, you do your set of presses. Okay, this is called a complex. We've talked about these before here on this channel. This still gives you a systemic response, but you also get a localized response too. Now, the only downside to doing all your cleans then the presses is you've accumulated some systemic fatigue, okay, and probably some oxygen debt by doing your cleans first, so your presses may suffer. So then the question becomes, which is best for you, right? Clean and press, just presses, or cleans then presses? Well, again, it all depends on you and your specific goals. For most guys our age, probably about 90% of us, we are best served by just cleans and presses, okay? So with that being said, if you need a clean and press plan, I will leave the links to 3 of my best clean and press programs in the video description below. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, click the like button, smash the subscribe button, share it with a friend who you know could use some extra help too, and leave me your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, my friend, stay strong.